If you're here, then I take it that you're already familiar with the Amazing Digital Circus as well as the Soma theory. If you don't know what the Amazing Digital Circus is, I recommend you watch it before you continue with this video, as I'm going to be going into spoilers. If you don't know what the Soma theory is, I'll get into that shortly. With that out of the way, let's start the discussion. The Amazing Digital Circus is now just a few short months away from finally coming to its grand finale, and like a lot of people, I'm really excited to see the conclusion of the show. However, something's been bugging me as I've been interacting with the fandom, reading theories and other reviews, and general thoughts about the show. The thing that bugs me the most at the moment is the failure to understand the Amazing Digital Circus and its themes properly. I've been seeing a lot of criticisms or general takes about the show that I just flat out disagree with. I want to address a few of them now, and then I want to get into why the Soma theory is not as terrifyingly horrible as everyone seems to think it would be. Despite being one of the more popular theories, I've seen a lot of pushback to the idea of it online, so I'm here to attempt to frame it in a way that I think would ultimately end bittersweet and have a more profound message to say regarding life and the world as we know it. Before we properly tear into it, let's establish one thing that everyone says. The creator of the show, who's very vocal on Twitter, but should probably not have their word taken to gospel due to the admittance of them lying for the fun of it, says that the digital circus is primarily about coming to terms with and being okay with a stagnant life. I think that this little statement right here is misinterpreted a lot. Sometimes I kind of wish Goose wouldn't say anything at all. I think a lot of what they have to say, besides being taken as gospel by the fanbase, is often so misinterpreted in a way that's going a bit too far. Other comments from the cast members, such as Kane's voice actor, have made statements about theories and how they're usually cooked up less by what's likely and more by what's very unexpected, and this has also led to a lot of people completely rethinking the way that they view the show. While I do think he had a point, like the whole Jax is a child murderer who ran over a kid theory, I think the statement in general has had so many people look back on any theory that promotes something beyond, and everyone now shuts it down or acts like this show isn't out to surprise us, which blows my mind, especially after episodes 7 and 8. With finales like those, I'm shocked anyone continues to think that the digital circus is going to end or finish its plot on a whimper. Speaking of, all of these statements and discussions online have also had a crazy amount of people saying that everyone is going to have to temper their expectations, and due to some other statements said by Goose, nobody should be expecting the mystery to be answered, a satisfying conclusion to said mystery, nor should we expect anything grandiose, usually citing the stagnant life statement. As if the beginning of episode 8 is going to be how things end for our crew. I doubt that's where we're going anymore. I think the opportunity for a more normal ending like that has been cast out alongside Kane's deletion. I vehemently refuse the concept that the grand mystery of the show and its ending are both going to not really answer any questions and or have to be as satisfied without knowing the answer, just like the crew. Digital Circus, at its core, is carried by two main components that are the strongest aspects of the plot: the characters and the mystery of the circus. While the adventures are funny and the humor and dialogue and character interactions are great and very entertaining, the burning question that should constantly be on your mind as you watch is probably either, what is the digital circus? And of course, are they ever going to leave? Episode 8 did give us some partial answers, and I think we'll have the full answers by episode 9 for the most part. Knowing or having a grand finale is not going to take away from the bittersweet ending or the stagnant life themes that the show's promoting. With all of this in mind, I think we can have a talk about the Soma theory and why, if the show ends with this being our reveal, things are not going to be as terrible as people think it will be. While the concept of it can be terrifying, I think the Soma theory primarily has such a bad energy surrounding due to exactly what it's based on: Soma. So, what is the theory?
Still here. Still here. Catherine? Catherine?
I'm here.
What the hell happened? What went wrong?
Nothing. They're out there, among the stars. We're here.
No. We were getting on the Ark. I saw it. It finished loading just before it launched.
Yeah, I saw.
Then why are we still here?
Simon, I can't keep telling you how it works. You won't listen. You know why we're here. You were copied onto the Ark. You just didn't carry over. You lost the coin toss. We both did. Just like Simon at Omicron, just like the man who died in Toronto 100 years ago.
This is bullshit. We came all this way. We launched the Ark.
I know it sucks, but our copies are up there. Catherine and Simon are both safe on the Ark. Be happy for them.
Are you crazy? We're gonna die down here with those fuckers living at large on a spaceship. They're not us. They're not us.
I'm sorry you feel that way, Simon. I'm proud of what we did. We made sure that something of the hundreds of thousands of years of human history survives, that something lives on.
No, fuck this. Fuck this. Fuck you. Fuck you, Catherine. You lied. And I believed in you. I trusted you. You said we're getting on the fucking Ark.
We are on the Ark, you idiot! I didn't lie. I can't be responsible for your goddamn ignorance. You
Fuck! Catherine? Please don't leave me alone. Catherine? Catherine?
The Soma theory is based on the ending of the game Soma. In the ending of the game, the main character has his mind scanned, copied, and uploaded as a digital copy to a satellite away from his location. While his digital copy gets to experience the good, happy ending among the stars, the character is still stuck in the old station in the dark. The ending uses the concept of consciousness transfer not really being a transfer, just a copy. And when a copy is made, two identical minds now exist, with one staying behind and one going on in its own continuity, fully thinking that it's still the original you. And by all accounts, it could be the real you, depending on how you answer the following question. What makes you, you? Is it your memories, experiences, and thoughts? Or is it your personality traits, your physical body, or your exact atoms and cells? If you could make a perfect replica of yourself with all your memories and experiences intact, and this replica experiences life in the same continuity, moving directly forward from when it was made, is it you, or still just a copy? And if you, the original, are left behind, are you still you, or is this new version of you, you? It's an interesting thought experiment, one that has often been explored with concepts like the teleportation paradox or the ship of Theseus. The teleportation paradox essentially asks, if a teleporter made a copy of you and your mind with 100% accuracy, deleted your body, and recreated it somewhere else, and it experiences the effects of teleportation, I was there, now I'm here, is it you? Or is it a copy of you? The ship of Theseus is essentially, if you replace every part of a ship until eventually it's all new parts, is it still the old ship, or is it a completely new ship? It's interesting and existential in nature because it forces us to look inward and ask ourselves, what makes me, me? And if there was a perfect copy of you made and stored somewhere and it awakens in the future, is it you carrying forward because it thinks it is? Or is it just a copy with no inherent value to the original person that was left behind? Because the experiences and memories are copied but not real because it didn't happen to the copy, it happened to the original. But the copy thinks that it did happen to them because it thinks it's still just you. So if it had to answer the question, it would say, I am me. To the copy, nothing has changed except whatever the copy was made for, whether it be for teleportation, stored in a digital simulation, implanted in a new body, or made to exist as a clone. It thinks like you, talks like you, and it believes itself to be you. I think the Digital Circus is less about being okay with a stagnant life, and actually more about answering what is being a human, or what makes a human a human. The best part of this entire thing is that almost all answers can just lead to more questions that go in circles, hence being called a paradox. But it only continues to be a paradox if you keep asking questions. After all, if you allow your copy to go on and exist, and it experiences continuity, it has no need to question anything. It's you. And it will go on while you, the original, remain behind and continue to be the version of you whose experiences have either come to an end or are on a different path now. So how is this related to the amazing Digital Circus? Well, if you haven't put two and two together already, let me solve the puzzle for you. The Soma theory for the Digital Circus basically theorizes that the characters that we are watching within the circus are actually copies of real people that do exist and continue to exist, and escape is impossible because the copies are exactly that. Copies. They don't have physical bodies, nor can their reality exist outside of the circus because the original real-world selves are not there. They are stuck inside of the circus as copies of people that do exist. I've seen a lot of people disregard or want this theory to end up not being real at all. And the reason? Because it's existential. Because the idea of being a copy of a person is terrifying, because how are you supposed to know which reality has inherently more value than the other? And how do we price that value? The integrity of your identity. If you were born and lived and had things happen to you, then you're a real person. But if you are a copy that exists in a fake world with memories that belong to someone else, then you are not a real person, and your fake copied life has inherently less value. Or does it? Let me pose this question to you in a different way. If you were never born, never grew up, just were created as an adult, but were given memories, experiences, loved ones, cherished moments, and more to think back and draw on, and this helps make you the person that you are now. If your life has been this way up to now, with no doubts, that you're acting as a person whose life you think you have, does this not make you a person, a human being, or is being born the most integral component of life as we know it? But how would you be able to measure that unless you didn't already know someone was a copy? Could you call this out? No, unless they knew and told you. And if they didn't and acted as the person that they think they are, wouldn't you both be fooled by this design? Obviously, where I'm going with this is Gummy Goo, who I think is our first piece of important evidence to back up the Soma theory within the Digital Circus. I think that Gummy Goo's episode is one of the most important episodes of the series because it challenges Pomni and Gummy Goo's concept of reality and what's real or not real. As far as Gummy Goo knows, he is a real living person slash gummy creature thing with goals, family, friends, and a whole personality. All of the things that Kane gave him allowed him to feel and act like a relatable character that would struggle with the breakdown of reality and things being real or not. Isn't it human to question your existence and wonder about the reality that surrounds you? Isn't it human to want to feel real and to be recognized as real? One of the most impactful and important things that Pomni does is tell Gummy Goo that if he cares about his friends, cares about his family, and feels real to himself, then he is real. This is heavily drawing on the I think therefore I am philosophy. Essentially, this brings up the idea that if a living being questions its existence, it is proving itself to exist and be real, because it has to exist to be able to question its existence. Even if this being was being fooled into considering its state in the world, it has to exist to be fooled. They think, feel, question, and they act, therefore they are an existing living being. And if you so choose to doubt that existence of this being on a purely AI level, in other words, Kane created them so they're not real, I think that the show has not so subtle references to questioning and challenging the idea of humanity and sentience many times in the show. The most obvious and notable one is the inclusion of the Chinese room. Lately, I've been seeing a lot of people taking what seem to be one-off jokes and references and acting less like they are clues and more like they're just there for the joke, and shouldn't be considered as a piece of the puzzle. But personally, I think that this is crazy. Set designers, character designers, story writers, they don't do anything for no reason. Everything has a reason, even if it is meant to mislead you. In a fictional world, settings with a scripted program, not a single thing happens without someone coming up with a reason for it. So personally, I don't think anything can or should be ruled out. Perhaps some people do tend to overanalyze scenes, but I think there's a clear difference between missing the point and leaving no stone unturned. So if you don't know what the Chinese room is about, let me elaborate. The Chinese room is a 1980 thought experiment come up with by philosopher John Searle. The Chinese room states, say that there was a person locked inside of a room that is inaccessible. This person does not know Chinese. However, outside of the room, we slip in papers with Chinese symbols. In return, the person inside, despite not knowing Chinese, has a set of protocols and guidelines on what Chinese letters to return back through the door based on what was received. To us, outside of the room, we think that the person inside knows Chinese. They must, because they respond with the right letters. But how can you verify this information without walking in and seeing it for yourself? You cannot ever enter the room, and you will never enter the room, nor will that person ever come out. Your answer will forever remain a mystery. If you don't fully understand what this thought experiment is trying to say, it's essentially drawing a comparison between the human mind's level of thinking and a computer's. If we take an information that we're taught to analyze, transcribe, and return with our own answers, and we train a computer to do the same, are we on the same level of thinking? Is a computer not just operating the way that a human mind does? Is it more complicated than that, or are we overestimating the design of the human brain? And what if computers only get smarter and smarter, and their ability to act, talk, and understand human language and emotions and express their own? At what point is the line between man and machine too blurred to tell the difference? Because if a machine is fully capable of sentient thought, you would never know. You would never be able to truly look within its soul and see the proof within. You'd forever be wondering if that machine truly did love, or think, or want something, or if it was just excellently programmed. But if we humans take in data and information and spit out our own data and information based on what we got, are we not also excellently programmed? Back between the conversation between Pomni and Gummigoo, it seems that Pomni basically subscribes to the idea of I think, therefore I am, and wants Gummigoo to focus on the feelings that are important to him. Because for her, that's what really makes us, us. Feelings. How we think about things, how we react and commentate and criticize and have opinions. The entire basis of how you feel about things is due to how your brain works, and your brain has gotten to this point due to the life that you've lived till now. If you took the brain and implanted it on another body, that body is going to think that your value is its value and it won't question a thing. Only you will. Only the you that knows it's a copy. But if you're not a factor, then what say do you have? At this moment, Pomni is choosing to have Gummigoo care about and accept his experiences despite being made up to make him a person. Pomni is choosing to see a created NPC character working off of an intelligent AI as a fellow human. And personally, I think it's the right call. Not just in the context of the story, but at least in the context of how AI works in this world. I think the only reason that these days we are so much more judgmental and or dismissive of AI in media is because we are comparing it to LLMs and generative AI and our current real world predicament with AI. So we say things like, it's just programmed to say that, or it's just being instructed to act in such a way so it isn't real. However, I think it's important to make a very clear distinction between fictional AI in media and the kind of AI that we have in real life. For now, we do have no illusion. AI is not trying to come off as being human-like, and though they try to make them sound more human, AI themselves, at least the popular ones, have protocols in place to always remind the person that they are indeed an AI and not an actual thinking human being. So for the moment, I don't believe that there is a Chinese room situation with how we have AI being developed. We see things behind the scenes. We've looked under the hood. We've opened up the curtain. We already know how it works and how it does things. There is no mystery. There is no philosophy behind it. It's interesting to get into a little bit of discussion about it regarding data processing and how humans and how computers handle it, but it is nothing like the AI that's demonstrated in fictional media. Typically, those AI are created for the purpose of making the audience ask themselves questions like, what is being a human? What does it mean to have a soul? This is not media that is attempting to make you genuinely believe that AI could be your best friend. It's just asking you to look internally and challenge your way of thinking. But for the arguments that I usually see people make regarding the AI inside of the Digital Circus, lots of people would choose to say that they are not real because they are programmed and created, and even though they have memories and experiences to draw on to make them more human-like, it's not the same. However, by that logic, I would argue that we're a little bit alike. If a person is just a collection of memories and experiences, thoughts and opinions, then by definition, an AI like Gummigoo, who is also a collection of memories and experiences, thoughts and opinions that make him convinced that he's a real person, then he's just a living being with as much value as another human being. Again, in the context of the Digital Circus, I just think that this is an argument worth mentioning briefly for all of the people who very quickly dismiss the AI characters like Kane or Gummigoo or anyone else. Just a quick reminder that fictional AI is not the same as real AI, and I think they are worthy of your thoughts, especially if you are not religious, because religious people have it the easiest. They just say things that are created by humans have no soul, and things created by God do have souls. It's a pretty simple answer, and if you're not religious, then I think that the question gets a lot more complicated. I think the important thing to mention regarding how we view AI actually lies with empathy. If your gut reaction to his killing is shock or sadness to see him obliterated, then I think your empathy is playing a key factor in how you view a creation like Gummigoo. I think empathy, above all, is a deciding element in how we place value on someone's reality or authenticity. If you are capable of callously dismissing the life or mind of an AI due to flat out refusing to hold it at equal value because it wasn't born or didn't actually live? What if it was you instead? What if your life turned out to be fake and you were just created as a super intelligent AI NPC to make a game world more interesting? Would you want to be taken seriously as an individual, or would you too callously dismiss your own life simply because it was written and not experienced? How about Black Mirror Season 2, Episode 4, White Christmas, one of the greatest episodes of sci-fi psychological horror ever made. In the episode, one of the characters explains his line of business. In this future, people can create cookies of their consciousness. Cookies is just what they call it, and I have to call it that, or else one of my friends is going to get on me. A perfect replica of their mind that feels like them in every way, implanted into a device that gives this copy digital shape, and someone is in charge of getting it to comply. Comply in this case, meaning that the digital copy will act as the perfect AI assistance tool to the person that it was created for. A perfect copy that can control the home and tasks of the person it thought it was, and it's the best choice since it knows everything about the person that it's assigned to. For lots of people, this would be hell and a horrible existence for the digital copy, despite the fact that the digital copy is just lines of code. It's not real. Or for many people, it's a horrifying reality and terrible to justify the practice because the cookie thinks it was a real person. For the cookie, it went from having the procedure to suddenly being stuck inside of a digital prison. Would you be able to handle it? Would you be okay with having a cookie with a copy of your mind do everything for you, essentially as a digital slave? Or would your empathy get the better of you? I think that value is something that the circus members are going to have to give themselves, despite the breakdown of their reality if and when the Soma theory is proved right. And they were already getting there by the end of episode 8. Despite the fact that they were real people with goals and dreams and ambitions, this is their world now. This is their everyday life, and they have to come to peace with it. Otherwise, the alternative. The reason why I think Soma is the most likely and the best answer as well is because it directly challenges us to ask what the value of any life is, and if that value decreases or increases depending on circumstances, experiences, or what is fabricated or not. If the circus characters have a world, circus, each other, feelings towards things, memories to make, opinions, then I would say that they are real people existing in their world, and they feel real and have true emotions to themselves. Even if there are in real life counterparts outside of the program, they still exist within this digital landscape. They can only exist within it. So now they have a choice to accept it and live a life that they can live, or to reject it. The same way a lot of people come to terms with their lot in life. Whether that was never achieving the goals and dreams that they wanted, or being stuck somewhere they've always wanted to leave, accepting roles they thought they never would, or being with people that they never intended on. At the end of the day, most people's lives come to the final nail of acceptance, and they find peace and tranquility in coming to terms with something like a stagnant life that's not going to change, or one they feel they don't have the power to change. Of course, in the real world, we do have the power to change our lives, and we have the ability to keep chasing something that feels unattainable. But it doesn't happen for everyone. We don't all have the same chances and opportunities, luck, or success to live life the way that we've always wanted. For a lot of people, it comes down to acceptance. This is it. This is what I have. I think the Digital Circus, above all else, wants to touch on this. It isn't failure. It doesn't mean that you failed to accept your lot. If anything, you succeeded in finding a satisfying conclusion to your struggle, even if it wasn't the conclusion that you were hoping for. I think everything that the characters are going through, especially in terms of existentialism, will culminate to this point. And I think the Soma theory, making them copies that are unable to leave, will drive this point further and better than them getting up out of their chairs and moving on with their day. Trust me, I get it. I want them to get out too. But I think that the main themes of the show would be tossed away if their time in the circus did come to an end. Being okay with a stagnant life doesn't mean exiting the matrix and improving every aspect about yourself and the world around you. It means being okay with staying put. And I doubt that the members are going to be given a chance between stay or go. I don't think that was ever going to be an option. I think Kinger saying, leave the circus, no, that's impossible, or something like that, is not a throwaway line. I think Kinger knows that they are mind files and they are not original people, and him choosing to help the members go for Kane is less about exiting the circus and more about getting a currently torturous and destructive AI under control. I don't know what awaits us in episode 9, but I don't think our crew is going anywhere, and you need to be okay with that as much as they're gonna have to be okay with it. The Soma theory does not take away the value of any of these characters. They still feel, they still act, they still have memories and experiences and can continue to make more and feel like real people. It's bittersweet. Bittersweet because they have each other, and they have their world that they make real by letting it feel real, by not asking a million questions or endlessly looking behind the veil. On a personal note, I do want the Soma theory to be real. I don't normally talk about myself too deeply on my channel, But there's a reason why I enjoy this theory. In my past, I went through a traumatic experience that had me convinced that life wasn't real, that everything was some kind of simulation. I was losing myself and wondering if anything I had ever been through in my life was real. My memories, my family, things that have happened, or things that I wanted to happen in the future. If nothing was real, just a pop in reality, a neuron firing in some simulated brain, or a computer simulation running a program, then what did anything matter? What was the point of anything if it was all pre-written, created, and I wasn't a true person? Not only did the Digital Circus help me with this, it was also a personal close friend of mine, who told me something along the lines that Pomni told Gummigoo. What is life except the things that you experience and feel real to you? Do you love your friends? Do you love your family? Do they feel real to you? Do your feelings, memories, and experiences feel real? If they do, then they are real. It doesn't matter if the world is fake, simulated, or created. You are living in it, and this is what you have. I guess that's why I think the Soma theory would be the best bittersweet ending to the Digital Circus, and why it would also be the deepest and most impactful. Its messages and themes of existentialism, stagnation, compromise, humanity, and identity would be further enhanced by an ending like Soma's. The lives and existence of the characters we know isn't devalued by being stuck in the circus. It's their world, and what they choose to do with it and themselves is ultimately up to them. The Soma theory, while sad, should not make you feel hopeless. Let your life be your life, and your reality be your reality. Because the constant asking of questions we don't have the answers to has a fine line between thought-provoking philosophy and existentialism. I hope that this video has given you something to think about in regards to life, humanity, and the Soma theory for the Amazing Digital Circus. I can't wait for the release of the grand finale. If you want to watch it with me and my community, join my Discord server and we can watch it together. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you want more content like this, be sure to subscribe and add a like and comment. It helps my videos get out there, and it shows me how people receive it. Your feedback is always appreciated, and I value your opinions. If you want to join my community, the links will be below. On top of the watch of the finale that'll be coming out, we're also going to be doing a rewatch of the circus in preparation in the coming up weeks to the finale. So if you want to be a part of that, be sure to join. Anyways, that is all I've got for now. Have a good one.